Many Raptors fans were left confused and a little bit upset when the team elected to take Scottie Barnes with the 4th overall pick and pass on Jalen Suggs. So in this video, we're going to give you our initial reaction to this draft pick and try to break down why they selected Barnes over Suggs. Let's get into it. Welcome NBA and Raptors fans to Amateur Hour Sports. This is the channel where you get NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week. That is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. This is your Monday episode where you're breaking down the first round pick for the Toronto Raptors, Scottie Barnes, and why he got selected over Jalen Suggs. So if you like what you see in today's video, you want more of myself talking about the NBA and the Raptors and videos and content just like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below to show support to the channel. You can also check out our Twitch, twitch.tv/amateursports. Link is in the description. Thank you so much for everybody who came out to the great NBA draft watched on stream yesterday. Over 1,000 viewers for the first time on Twitch. That was a great time. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. But let's get down to business for today because there is a lot to uncover. Because Raptors fans, again, are left a little bit confused as to what happened last night. Raptors fans, I think the grand majority of us were hugely confident that this team was going to take Jalen Suggs with the 4th overall pick, and we're left, I would say the best word is shocked. I mean, you can watch my initial reactions to pick, and it's safe to say I was pretty shocked. Come on, don't be Barnes. Oh. And along with being shocked about this pick, I was a little bit upset. I've really cooled down after, a full night to process everything, but I was upset because I was completely sold on Jalen Suggs being the man for the Raptors going forward, being the guy to help lead this franchise into a bit of a better future. And it all came crashing down when I heard Scottie Barnes' name called. Now, I have maintained over the last few months, I've always liked Jalen Suggs, but Scottie Barnes is still a great player. Scottie Barnes is a great player, and I can completely understand why the Raptors drafted him. Masai Ujiri doesn't always go with the most obvious pick in these NBA drafts. He likes to take those risks, and it's maybe a risk for us, but it's not really a risk for him because, him, Bobby, and the rest of the Raptors scouts have looked at these players. They have had the most eyes on these players for, in some cases, a number of years, but they've zeroed in on these players and decided that Scottie Barnes is the best player for their franchise because they believe he will be the best player when compared to Suggs in 3 or 4 years' time. And it's not really a risk for them because they truly believe that this is the best player available. They truly believed at the time when they made the pick that Suggs was not the best player available. And Bobby Webster significantly communicated that in the press conference after the draft. They were sold on taking Scottie Barnes, and they decided that they did not want to just fit the norm and go with what everybody thought. They wanted to take the guy that they believed in. And it seemed like the pre-draft workouts with Scottie Barnes went exceptionally well because they defined that, even though to us, this 3-point shooting percentage for Scottie Barnes was a little bit down in college, they identified that that was something that they could work on. And they looked at a player who, even without shooting, was a great player for Florida State, a very good ball handler. He's huge as well, very athletic. He's 6'8", 7'3" wingspan, and a 9-foot standing reach. They thought that all of these together made him an already good player. And if you add in that shooting, that 3-point game, it's just going to take him to a completely different level. So understanding that, I can see why they did it. But Jalen Suggs was a really good player to pass on. And in my opinion, this draft was very top 4 heavy. Now, the Raptors clearly did not see that way. Maybe they thought it was a top 3 heavy draft and that they always wanted Barnes. And again, I'm going to reiterate, I'm not upset that they took Scottie Barnes. My beef with this pick, the only real beef I have with it is that we could have traded down to make this pick. I truly believe that we could have traded down to make this pick, and I said it all week that I'm not going to be upset. If you identify, if Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster identify that this is the best player for the Toronto Raptors, that's cool with me. But don't take him at number 4 because it is pretty clear that Orlando wanted Jalen Suggs at the number 4, and we could have moved down to at least 5. What I will say is that moving down to OKC might have been a little bit difficult because OKC made a very surprise pick and took Josh Giddey at number 6. The fact that they took a 6'8" ball handler with their 6th overall pick kind of enlightens me to the fact that maybe they were looking at Barnes at number 4 as well. So I'm not sure that a trade down to OKC would have worked, but a little bit confused. We could have gone down to Orlando Orlando, I think we could have gotten like the 5th overall pick plus Mo Bamba to take Scottie Barnes, the guy we would have wanted anyway, but I don't know all of the information that the Raptors front office had. But let's break down Scottie Barnes. Let's try to make sense of why the Raptors took him here, because there's a lot of people who are very upset about this trade online. I'm hoping a lot of you guys have cooled down, but let's take a look at what they liked about Scottie Barnes. So looking at the stats that he produced in college, the 10-4-4 doesn't really show a lot about Scottie Barnes, because he's a lot more than just what his statistics shows, because he is such a great defender, and his size is something that is significant. And also for Scottie Barnes, he finished the season very well because he's a very young player. He came in as a bench player and worked himself into a much bigger role with Florida State. Ended up being 6th man of the year in his conference. The shooting percentages, well, the 50% from the field is quite nice, and going along that 50%, he actually shot 62% at the rim, which is very good for a player like himself. The 3-point percentage and the free throw percentages is what is seriously going to scare Raptors fans. But looking at the strengths about his game, this guy has some outstanding natural talent because he's super athletic. He's very athletic, but also has some amazing size to him. Again, 6'8", a 7'3" wingspan, which is a few inches bigger than Siakam and Anunoby actually, who showcased a wingspan in their pre-draft workouts under 7 feet. And Scottie Barnes has a standing reach of 6'9", which is actually higher than both Siakam and OG Anunoby, who had a 8'11" reach in their pre-draft workout. So Scottie Barnes, clearly the Raptors have looked at the fact that he's got that athleticism and the size about his game, going along with the fact that he's a very good ball handler, he's a very good passer, very good playmaker, reads the game very well, and he is an exceptional defender who, according to himself, he can guard the 1 through the 5. I'd have to be a little bit convinced about that, but I am very sure that at this point he can guard the 1 through the 4. And Bobby Webster did mention in the press conference after the draft that the Raptors have really liked players like OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam, and you've seen how they can get the best out of players like that. Siakam has turned into an all-NBA player, and he's turned into an all-star. If he can get that back next season, OG Anunoby, I think, is on a way to being an all-defense first team, maybe a future DPOY candidate, maybe, a fringe type of all-star player. But they can get the best out of those guys with switchability, with lengths. They can work with what they have because, OG and especially Pascal Siakam didn't come into the league as fantastic three-point shooters, but Siakam is a moderate three-point shooter now. And, 2 years ago, he shot 36%. OG Anunoby is a great three-point shooter at this point. So they've clearly identified the fact that they can work with this three-point percentage. And it's not just the face value of the player, what the player currently offers. The Raptors, again, are looking like 3 or 4 years into the future. It's not just about the upside a player has. It's not just about the talent the player has, but it's about the upside that your development team can unlock for a player. And the Raptors have looked at Scottie Barnes and decided that they can get the most out of this player compared to the other one. They can get the most out of Barnes compared to what they can get out of Jalen Suggs. Maybe the way they build their team, the Raptors, maybe the way they develop their players, it caters more to the strengths of Scottie Barnes. And Webster was talking again about, we love the guys like Siakam and Anunoby who have switchability, who have the ability to play two-way. Why not make a full team of guys like that? And that's literally what he said, and that's why they've gone for a guy like Scottie Barnes here. Now, one of the big questions I have is about the fit here, because to get the most out of Scottie Barnes, who did play as a point guard for Florida State, but I think that his NBA future is more so in the small forward or power forward positions. Well, we have OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam playing in those forward positions. So how are you going to get the most out of Barnes there, but not hinder the development of OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam? I think that they want to keep Siakam. I was thinking yesterday in the stream, maybe they want to trade him, but I think that they do want to keep Siakam, and obviously they want to keep Anunoby. They can play Barnes in a guard position, but I don't know if that's the best thing for him. What is great for Barnes that he was a 6th man of the year in his conference, so I think he's going to be content coming off of the bench for the Raptors and working in his development in that way, and then we can kind of figure out what he is, figure out what's his best position and where the best place for him is on the court. But it is good to know that you can play him virtually anywhere on offense and virtually anywhere on defense, which makes him a very good Swiss Army knife player to have coming off your bench, because that's what I believe his role is going to be initially. Now, what this also means for me is that we haven't drafted a guard, which means I think it's very necessary for the Raptors to now look out and go get Kyle Lowry. Go bring back Kyle Lowry into this team and have your starting lineup of Fred, Kyle, OG, Siakam, bring a new center, and your bench is all of a sudden looking a lot better. You've got Malachi Flynn, Gary Trent Jr., Chris Boucher, Scottie Barnes, Yuta Watanabe. That looks great. You can even bring another center to round off a bit of an 11-man rotation. So, I'm pretty confident the way this team is heading. And the bottom line about this pick is that, sure, I was shocked. Sure, I was a little bit upset because I wanted Jalen Suggs. But my understanding of the situation is that Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, they know a lot more about basketball than I do. They have seen the guys. They know exactly what they're doing here. It is not the first time that Masai Ujiri and whoever has decided to take on somebody that the Raptors fans and most personnel in the NBA wouldn't have taken on. But they get the most out of these players because it's not just about the face value of the player. It's about them looking at a player and them looking 3 years in the future of what they could get out of that player. And if what they can get out of that player is a lot higher than any other person on the board, then sure, they're going to go for the upside. They've bet on upside before, and it has proven to be correct. Pascal Siakam is a prime example of that. But I can't just sit here and tell you that this pick is garbage when I have never even seen Scottie Barnes in a Toronto Raptors jersey. You have to be patient with this one because in season 1, Jalen Suggs is likely going to outperform Scottie Barnes in the rookie year. But, this is a pick that we're betting on for 3 or 4 years into the future. And sometimes even the best player available isn't the guy that's best for your roster. And I think that's kind of the train of thought here for the Raptors. It's kind of like the Phoenix Suns taking DeAndre Ayton. Sure, they could have had Luka Doncic or Trae Young, but DeAndre Ayton was a vital piece to the Phoenix Suns almost winning an NBA championship this year. So even though he wasn't, the most talented player there, the fact that they could get the most out of him and get him to this position has significantly helped the Suns. And for the Raptors, they've decided that Scottie Barnes is the player for them. So I'm going to trust the front office to have made the right decision because they know more than I do. And they have proven us, the fan base, wrong time and time again. Most Raptors fans were crying when DeRozan got traded for Kawhi Leonard, but the Raptors front office calculated the risk, and it wasn't really a risk for them. They knew that that was a trade that they needed to make, and they knew in this situation that Scottie Barnes was that player that they needed to take. And we're going to have to be patient. It's going to take a few years to truly understand if this pick was worth it, if that full season of tanking was worth it, if that lottery luck, if we used it correctly. But we won't be able to tell today. But at this point, I'm trusting the front office. I hope you guys too. And even if Scottie Barnes wasn't the player you wanted, you better give that man your utmost support as a Toronto Raptor for the future success of the franchise. So let me know what you guys thought about this pick. Are you still upset about this pick? Are you happy about this pick? Were you happy all along? Do you trust the front office? I want to hear all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below because that wraps it up for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you are still here, be sure to hit that like button. If you did enjoy the video, really goes a long way to helping us reach some new viewers for the channel and brings in new viewers to help us reach that 5,000 subscriber mark. We are on a road to 5,000 subscribers. You can help us get there by subscribing. Check out some other videos by the channel. And always remember, at the end of the day, believe what I say. And if you disagree, that is okay. Enjoy the grind, and I'll see you again next time for another video.